Hey guys, GWS here. Here to kind of make a video to, I guess, brag a little bit, but also to make a general point. So, I was banned from the secular talk Discord yesterday, which I just feel is triumphant because it puts the solid mark on the fact that leftists cannot take it when they are criticized. So they have to try to subvert your voice. They have to try to put a muzzle on you so that you cannot get your word out. And this is just the latest example, being banned from the Secular Talk subreddit, where I made fun of Bernie supporters again, and I was a little bit trolly over the top with it, but I wanted to make a point. So let's see. Let's actually unblow this. Yeah, so I made this thread right here, alert live footage of Bernie Sanders supporter, and I made a picture of a crying baby. But of course, I put some text in here too. Bernie Sanders supporters seem amazingly upset that Hillary Clinton won the primary over a year after it happened, calling it rigged and throwing out other conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theorists are extremely upset that their communist cult of personality will never be president. And then I got banned over this, right? So here's the thing, and let me just respond to that before I get into the actual thing that I want to get into, which is a little more specific, but it might get in the generalities. But um, the thing is, there's no conspiracy, you know. Basically, Donna Brazil, when she talked about the DNC, she exposed what we already knew. So what do we know? Well, first of all, let's just explain that the DNC absolutely was polling for Hillary, did schedule events for Hillary in Hillary's favor. Um, may or may not have rigged voting times. There's no evidence of that, and that'd be illegal if there was. That's a serious criminal allegation. But here's the thing, and this is what all the Bernie bros and Bernie sisses miss, is that the parts where it mattered, there was no rigging at all, none. And that was the voting. The voting is what matters. And ultimately, Bernie Sanders did not get the votes. If you look in Real Clear Politics, let's see if we can find it real quick. Bonus content. We're going to see if we can find it real quick. Okay. Okay, so we'll go Real Clear Politics. Okay, so let's look at this because I want to show you guys something. And this just goes to show you how not close that election cycle was. So here you have in sometime in 2013 was, I guess, I'm assuming they probably include polling from before she entered. And then here's when Bernie entered. Bernie Sanders, and they wouldn't have done polling before that. But, as you can see, and all the Bernie bros will give the correct point that Bernie did rise up in the polls. But notice one thing. At no point in the primaries was Bernie Sanders ever ahead of Hillary Clinton. Not one time. So, for all the rigging that's claimed, for all the conspiracy theories floating around, all the voter stuff floating around, the fact is this. This is the RCP average, and, I warn you, don't take polls seriously, but when you have polls, let's look at all these, they even have a history here. You have to go back to a couple months, um, before the primary was over to find one poll where Bernie Sanders was ahead. That was the Atlantic. And then you had Marist right here. And then an almost no poll was Hillary Clinton ahead. Like, even when you take the 2016 election before between Hillary and Trump, Hillary was ahead, but there weren't these kinds of margins. The average, I believe, was something like Hillary plus like 4 or 5, something like that. I believe RCP had it +4. HuffPoster had it a little bit over 5 points. But look at these margins, plus 11.4 at the end of the process. And then you have a couple polls that put Bernie ahead by maybe 1 point. And those are just individual polls. If you take the compilation, Bernie gets very close right around here. Like, he got he got about a percentage point within Hillary, and then he tapers off. Excuse me. So there was never any contest. Let's just clear that air. Hillary Clinton was the favorite, was the more popular candidate. She won the vote, and according to nearly every poll, she was ahead on average. But this is more than that, too. And that this was basically Bernie supporters just throwing a tantrum. It's like all these conspiracy theories, like, they know these things, but the fact is, it is an inability to accept facts. And this is what gets to the subjugation of various voices. And even Hillary people do it too. But this is the reason why you have people like David Pakman and Secular Talk banning me from speaking, because honestly, they don't want the truth. And that's part of the problem. But this is a subject I really wanted to get into. And we're going to get into a lot of these socialist subjects because it needs to be said. And this idea of the rich paying their, quote, fair share. You guys hear about that a lot. Fair share. What does fair share mean? Fair share is a weasel term. A weasel term used by Bernie bros to mean whatever they want it to mean at the time in terms of what rich people should pay. Because if you notice, they never give the specific amount, because it means they have to stick to a position. And this refreshed for some reason, but and this is one of the big problems with the left, and you get into a lot of these weasel terms, is like fair share implying that there's no fair share being paid. Now, if you want to go by a literal definition of fairness, you would be for not just a flat percentage tax, but you'd be for a flat monetary tax. Because nobody splits their bills by percentage income. Like, if you're in a house and, you split the bills amongst all the people in the house, like, do you split it according to income? Like, do you say, okay, what do you make, what do you make, what do you make, you pay this, you pay this, you pay this? No, that's not how a household works. And so if you want to talk about fairness, it would be equal amounts. But I just want to keep that part brief, because just the main thing is I wanted to kind of dance over this notion that Secular Talk is for free speech. They're not. Never have been. The fact is, I was aiming for a ban in the Secular Talk Discord because that is what they try to effectively do. They try to muzzle you, they try to silence you because they don't want to ban you, so you brag about it. And so you got to force them, and that's what I ended up doing, both from the Discord and from the Reddit. And yes, I am absolutely proud that free speech warriors are able to speak out like this, because here's the thing: you could ban us from your Discords, but you can't ban us from the polls. Thanks for listening, guys. God bless.